this morning. Now, the one reminder I want to do is, well, actually two reminders. One is the risk disclaimer, which is required by the CFTC. And basically, if you're trading, there is risk involved. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Now, the other one, because I'm going to be showing a strategy this morning, it is based on hypothetical performance, and these do have limitations. Okay, and the reason it has limitations is because there's only so much back data you can load, and it's going to give you the best entry and exit signals. The live edge of the market can give you very different results. Okay, so I want to make sure everybody sees this. When I go to show the strategy, I will show it again just to make sure that everybody understands these are hypothetical results. Any questions on the disclaimers? Good morning, Juan. How are you doing this morning? Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start out with Forex this morning because usually between 8 to about 10 o'clock I'm trading Forex. And the first thing I want to point out is this radar screen. In this, as you can see, I'm monitoring the Aussie dollar, the euro yen, the British pound dollar, the British pound yen, the USD yen, and the USD Canadian. And I'm monitoring all of these symbols on 3 time frames, the 15, the 60, and the 240. Hi, Sashi. I'm doing fine. How are you? So the first column that we have here is the THD stochastics indicator. And it simply tells me anytime we have a market that is either overbought or oversold. For example, right now on the euro yen, I know that we are oversold. We're below 20. And if I put the ADX on there, you'll see we just made an ADX magenta peak. Okay, that tells me that price should retrace up to the ATR. The ATR is this little plus sign that's on the chart. Those are my entry points. Okay. All right. In addition to that, I can also tell if we have made a pivot low or a pivot high. As you can see, it's highlighted in that column. The next column that I have is the THD volume divergence. In other words, as price is making new lows or new highs, then it's measuring the volume on those highs and on those lows. That particular indicator I only have for TradeStation and multi-charts. It is not available for NinjaTrader. The next indicator is the THD ADX. Anytime we have a number under the ADX column that is greater than 50, we can expect a magenta peak. The significance of a magenta peak is that price should retrace back to the ATR. The ATR is my entry point. We also have a column that tells me how many ticks we are until we make that magenta peak. So for example, on the British pound dollar 240-minute chart, there's about 138 ticks until it makes a magenta peak. That tells me, hey, I'm not even close, don't even think about looking at it. The next column I have is a pullback divergence indicator, and this is measuring the volume on the way back to the ATR. Again, ATR is the entry point. We then have the trend ATR, and I can tell the previous bar trend, the current bar trend, how many ticks away from the ATR is price currently. I can identify when markets are in congestion. So for example, the euro yen 60-minute chart you can see that we're at the ATR. This has went slightly below the ATR, and that's the reason it's picking up a congestion area. That means that there was a dot plotted underneath here. Let me see if the USD JPY has a better example on it. It's also on the 60-minute. Do you see how you have this line of white dots? At the same time that we have this plus sign, that's a market that is in congestion. Anytime the market is plotting these white dots, you can expect it to come back and test the ATR. When it comes back to test the ATR, you would want to see diverging volume. This one does not have diverging volume. And diverging volume simply means that as it came back to the ATR, the selling volume was decreasing. Now, sellers is measured from this gray line. Anything that is below the gray line is sellers. Anything that is above the zero line is buyers. This little hash mark here tells me at the end of the bar who controlled it, buyers or sellers, okay? So in this case, we did not have diverging volume, so this is not an entry that I would be interested in taking. We also have price at ATR, which tells you when price is at either the congestion dot or the ATR. Those are my two entry points. That's it, okay? So at a glance, I can tell you everything that is going on all of my time frames. Does everybody understand that? Any questions about that? And this is really great for monitoring a lot of instruments, okay? Now, if you're just beginning to trade, you don't need to monitor that many instruments. You're not ready for that, okay? You know, if you're just starting to trade, you might only be trading one or two instruments. This would be overwhelming to someone that was brand new to trading, okay? Now, on the chart itself, you can see I have the trend ATR, and the price bar is either blue or red. Sometimes it's white, like it is over here, and that simply tells me I am close enough to take a trade, okay? In other words, I am close enough to this ATR to enter a trade. Now, you can trade it using Forex market, or you can trade it using binary options. I have predominantly, especially on Forex, been trading binary options just because there's no margin. I can use the out of the money binaries, which I love. And typically my risk is less than $45. Sometimes I can get them from 20 and 30. You just have to look and see what is available. Good morning, Rick. How are you? Sounds great, Rick. So in this case, as you can see, the USD JPY, it approached the ATR, okay? And this blue dot that is on the ATR tells you you had an entry point, okay? Now, on the binary options, there is a strike on the 2-hour binaries every 4 pips. So, for example, this is a signal that was given on the USD JPY at 113.77. Okay, let's say that the closest strike price to that was at 78. Okay, if you add 4 ticks to that, that would give you an out of the money strike at 82, which would be about here. So this is where you would actually go long on the binary option. Because this is at least one strike price from where the Forex market is trading, you would be risking probably $45 or less, okay? And this is a 2-hour binary. So let's presume that you got into it at 3 o'clock. You would be out by either 4 o'clock, which is here, or you would be out by 5 o'clock, which was here. Again, you could have set a profit target and come out of the market, or you could have allowed it to expire. Either way, both of those would have made money. You could also have traded both of them, both the 4 o'clock and the 5 o'clock. Binary options just gives you so many different ways to trade something that it's amazing, okay? You can really build some trades once you get experienced at it. Now, I'm going to take these off of my chart. Now, over here, you see that we had a short entry, and this one would have lost money. So whatever you paid to enter that short right here, you would have lost money. So you made money on one, you lost money on the other. All right. The Aussie dollar is not one I typically trade during the U.S. session. And you can see that you're getting a red dot now. Now, if you're trading binary options, you want to wait until this price gets up to the red dot before you enter, because you are entering one strike out. Again, the Aussie dollar is one that has strikes every 4 pips. On the euro yen, we're getting an entry on the 60-minute, okay? So this is telling you you should buy, but you need 4 price bars in your direction. 4, a minimum, okay? So that means that right now it's 8 o'clock. You're going to have to go out until the 3 p.m. expiration, because they have 7, 11, 3, 7, 11. And this is throughout the day. These are the daily expirations. So the next one that gives you a 4-hour time frame would be the 3 p.m. I do not trade these a lot, okay? I'm more of the 2-hour binary. The British pound dollar, also giving you an entry signal on the 60-minute. Again, you would have to go out until 3 p.m. In fact, all of them right now are coming in on the higher time frames. This is close enough to the ATR to take a trade because it's telling me that right here. The USD JPY is coming in on the 240. This is close enough to take this trade. Now, this one is 240 minutes. So this one, you're going to have to go out on a weekly pretty much to give you that profit target. Does everybody understand that? Any questions on that? Now, these yellow lines over here, those are the THD zones. And that tells me when price is coming into a historical area of support and resistance. For example, you can see that it missed that by 1 pip, okay? And now it's come down and it has found support around the pivot line. Will this continue up? You know, I don't know. If it gets to the ATR, that would give me an entry into the downtrend, though. Let's see what the euro dollar is doing today. Now, this one should actually come down. You're overextended on this 240. So that tells me that we should come down. Do you see how you formed this congestion area? It came down to the congestion dot, went back up to the ATR, and it should break through this congestion dot area now. And right now, I'm not seeing anything that I would want to trade because I don't have anything at an ATR. Should this one come down? Yes, because we're at the congestion dot over here on the 240. It should come down to 120.92. Do I have an entry on the 15-minute? No. Let's see what the U.S. CAD's doing. Now, the U.S. CAD does not have 2-hour binaries until 8 o'clock. You do see that you had a losing trade here, went in trade here, went in trade here. This one could have went in for 3 a.m., which is here. In the U.S. CAD, I don't trade very often. I usually trade it during the crude oil inventories. Let me see what their strike width is. The strike width on the daily is 20 pips. So at this signal, which is at 32.81, you would have to come down to 32.60, which was here. It's all about the strike width on these. And most of your dailies are 20 pips. And I'm not seeing any of them at an ATR. That would be the first sale here. It would say add an ATR. And I don't see any there at the moment. Don't think you have updated to that one, Stuart. What is the best time frame to use for entry? Rick, it depends on how long you want to be in the market. I generally do the 2-hour. And generally, I have 1 hour until expiration. That's, it suits my personality. Something like this 240. If I'm watching the 240-minute, I will probably talk myself in and out of that trade at least 30 times. And this is something that's kind of conducive to your personality. I like to get in, make my money, and get out. I'm not a big long-term trader, okay? Because literally I'm watching the market all the time. Normally, if I'm doing one of these that is longer term, Rick, then, I won't look at that market until at least halfway through. And again, it goes back to your trading personality, okay? Since we don't have anything right now over here, I'm going to show you the strategy on some stocks, okay? It is hypothetical, so you have to read the hypothetical performance results, have many inherent limitations, some of which are described below. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown, okay? And I'm going to let you read the rest of it on your own while I'm talking. Now, this strategy, what is my entry point? My entry point is the ATR, okay? So these are just some stocks, and all the entries are at an ATR, okay? Now, all right. So Duke is one that I actively trade on a longer term time frame, and I do because that's who I pay my light bill to. And I like to know that I'm getting some of that money back. That's just a pet peeve of mine. The other one is Verizon. My cell phone carrier is Verizon. Boeing is one that I was looking at, Amazon, and PCLN. Now, one of the reasons that I chose the ones that I chose is because you want to make sure you have enough volatility in the market, okay, that you can get in and out. You want the liquidity to be there, okay? So the only reason I'm showing you this is to explain to you this is what we're trying to do, whether it's on stocks, whether it's on Forex, whether it's on futures, or whether it's on binary options. So I'm going to show the performance report, and you can see this has only got 40 trades. It's only going back 2 years. Now, the most important thing for me in this strategy performance report is the profit factor. Notice that you're getting more than 1-to-1 on the risk to reward ratio. Okay, so that's the most important number to me. And the reason it is because your percentages here are 45% profitable, 45%, okay? But you're still able to make money because your profit factor is greater than 1-to-1. That is the most important thing that you're looking at as a trader. And you can call it risk management, you can call it money management. But anytime I can get more than a 1-to-1 on the risk to reward side, I know I don't have to be a perfect trader. Does everybody understand that? I just have to get more on the win side than on the loss side. And each one of these are basically the same in that you're trying to get more than the typical 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. You know, on Verizon, it's 1-to-2, 1-to-1.88, 1-to-2.46. The higher this number is, the lower your percentage is. Sometimes I like the spread, sometimes I don't. You know, it depends. I'm always looking at risk to reward, Rick, and which one is going to give me the better one. And sometimes I can get an 8X binary for 30 bucks. Okay, so that if I held that till expiration or I held that until 90, that's giving me basically, you know, a 1-to-2, 1-to-3. Okay. No, this is the ATR, Sashi. I've got one that does the 80X magenta peaks. This is just straight. I'm at an ATR. I'm going to enter. Okay. And again, this one, your percentage is a little bit higher. It's about 53 overall. Okay. But again, because we increase the risk to reward ratio on that one, it does better. Okay. Now on Boeing, you know, you're getting 2.5 overall. Again, you're getting a 56% winning ratio. And this is hypothetical. Again, I'm going to stress this is hypothetical, okay? But it's showing you how you can take something as simple as entering at this ATR. And as long as you're using good money management and risk management, you can make money off of it. It depends on how disciplined you are at being able to do this. Do y'all understand? You know, if you go to Amazon, you're getting 3.66 overall, okay? Now, is this a lot of trades? No, it's not. And the reason that it's not is because if you're going back and you're back testing for 10 years, you know, it's going to average all of these numbers over a 10-year period. It's going to give you the best settings over a 10-year period. But today's markets are not what they used to be. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's built into the strategy layer. It's either the aggressive stop or a flip of the ATR. I mean, this is standard. This is what we do every single day. Okay? Price comes back to the ATR, gives you an entry. The only difference is on stocks, on futures, on Forex. I'm using an aggressive exit. That means if I go into it, once I'm in profit, if it takes out the low of the previous bar, I'm out. I'm very aggressive in taking that profit. But this, it's everything I teach y'all to do on a daily basis, okay? Once you have profits, you got to get aggressive. You've got to take those profits when the market is offering the profits, okay? And I mean, the strategy pretty much does the same thing. What is not built into the strategy is the ADX. We don't have the stochastics built into it, Could you get better or worse results by implementing your own rules? Yeah, you could. You could do a worse job or you could do a better job. It depends on where you're at in your trading, okay? And I don't believe in strategies. I don't believe in putting something on there and just letting it run. I've got a couple of clients that do. I'm not one of them. I'm a discretionary trader. What does that mean? It means that I am going to filter my results. This Amazon is a great example. And let me get my little pen up here. Okay. Here's your last high. And, to me, this is still hidden divergence. Okay. I would have stayed with that. Okay. Do you see where your aggressive stop is right here? That's where I would have exited. Okay. This is a guide for you, but nothing more than that. And I don't sell it because of the legal ramifications of strategies. So, let's see. Here's another one. It's PCLN. And again, you're only getting a 1.5. It's 31% profitable, 35 on the long side, 25 on the short side. But at the end of the day, you still made money. Why? Because you're getting a higher risk to reward ratio on these. It's not a 1-to-1. Okay? And I mean, these prices are on up there. I usually don't trade anything that's up that high. My general stock trading is usually any stock that's under $100. And the only reason that this works, because you're paying attention to risk to reward, okay? Anytime you can get better than 1-to-1, you're doing good. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing stocks, futures, Forex, binary options. If you can get a greater than 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, then chances are you're going to make money. Any questions on that? And I mean, if you look at this, okay, do you see how, okay, this made money, this made money, this made money, and then you had this loss here, okay? You had another loss right here, okay? Do you see how little these lines are compared to these lines? That's risk to reward. Keep your losses small, let your profits run. But lock them in when the market's saying, hey, I'm not going to give you more right now. If you look at Boeing, you see the same thing. Okay, you make money, you make money, you make money. Do you see your loss right here? Now, this is just something that I look at. You have a loss here, but look at your win. Okay, what does that mean? That means that this is not going to knock out this profit. That's what risk to reward is. Okay, you're not going to knock out your profits. In other words, you're going to lose here, but this win is still going to put money in your bank. Because if you're looking at dollar signs, this is just maybe $1, but you made $2, so you're still ahead at least $1. That's what it means. Everybody understand that now? And that's what we're looking at as traders. That's what we're looking to do. Do we always do that? No. You know, a lot of times this is on average, because when you get into a congestion area, and sometimes you don't know you're in a congestion area until after the fact, you know, sometimes you can't always hit it like that. And we still don't have anything right here. I'm looking for a 2-hour binary. I'm not looking to do a daily or a weekly here. I'm not going to be in it that long. And while I'm on that topic, please note that this is demo up here, okay? When I am in this trading room, I only do a demo account, okay? And I'm only going to be doing one contract. If you can't make money with one contract, there's no reason for you to do 10 contracts. You got to get your discipline in order first, okay? And right now I'm not seeing anything, so I'm not in anything. Okay, do you see how this is coming back to this ATR? This is where I'm already starting to look. And right now it's 8:30. I need at least 1 hour, so I've got to go out till 10 o'clock. Do you see how you have the red and blue blocks here? I know I have more strike prices there, because this should be every 4 pips. And this is what makes it hard in Nadex charts, because you see how that blew up? That's why I'm looking at my chart over here, okay? Now, what I want it to do is go back to 0756. That's going to be up here. That's where my ATR is, okay? At the same time, I'm watching the stochastics. I would actually like to see it make a lower high, but a higher high in the stochastics. But again, this is early. I'm just watching it right now. Now, while we're watching this, I'm going to go grab me a cup of coffee, and I'll be right back, okay? All I did was pull that over so I could see if anything hit the ATR, and it hasn't so far. Let's go over and look at the futures. I haven't looked at the futures just yet. Okay, this is on a 3-minute. I'm not trading 3 minutes right now. You're probably going to come down some because your ADX is, not your ADX, your stochastics is overextended at the moment. It's at 81.88. Same thing on the NASDAQ. You're overbought, so you're expecting this to come down some. Same thing on the ES. Do you see how you're also getting short divergence here? So in this case, you have the stochastics is overextended on the buy side, and you've got volume divergence on the highs. Okay. Crude. You're getting long divergence. That means that crude is giving you a long signal. I think it may come down and hit 50.45 first. Let's see. There's a lot of resistance in that area. 50.22. See how you're getting this congestion dot over here on the 180? So again, it's not ready yet. And actually looks like gold might go down again. And gold is not one I trade a lot because it closes at 130. And see, this is a classic example of volume decreasing on the highs. In other words, there's some weakness in that. But you don't just trade that on its own. So let's go back. We have not got back to that ATR. Do not have an entry. Okay, the British pound is at the ATR now. So we're waiting for that to get to 27.62. Not there yet. Those are the only two at the moment. I believe it was Rick. You were asking about spreads. And this is one, I would do the spread on this one because it's only $16 of risk versus going in the middle of nowhere here. You've got $40 here, you got 35 over here. This is where it would make more sense to do a spread because you don't have a clear entry signal, but you do believe that this is going to move down because these other charts are saying it's probably going to come down to 0642. Do you understand that, Rick? So to me, that would be a more efficient use of a spread. And I'm always weighing the risk of a spread versus a binary. And sometimes I do both. But in this case, it was better to do that one. And I'm just going to put a line on here that shows you what you paid. Yeah, that's right. And it's limited to 50. So your risk is limited to the difference between 0750 and 0734. Even if it comes up to 0780, your risk is capped at 0750. And this is one, I do think it will go down, but I'm not willing to pay $40 on a binary, so I just go in the spread instead. And sometimes you can get cheap spreads, sometimes you can't. It depends on what's going on that morning, really. The more volatile the market, the higher the spreads are. Let's go back. Now, I used to trade at 3-minute all the time. And one of the reasons I don't is because you're just getting so many gaps on these 3 minutes right now because the market's moving so slow that I do not trade these 3 minutes right now. Can you go over to a 3-minute? Sure. Once the U.S. market opens and you see, okay, it's moving, there's no gaps on the 3-minute, you can switch over and trade a 3-minute. For those of you that were in the Nadex webinar last week, you saw me trading the 20-minute binaries, but they don't open until 9:40, so nothing we can do about those. Now, if you're looking at this from a risk to reward standpoint, okay, this is the spread that we did. We were risking $16. So we want to try and make $32. That's double the risk that we put up. And the other thing that you're looking at is, can the euro dollar move 32 pips? Because basically that's what you're saying. I need it to move at least 32 pips in my favor, okay? Considering that we got a U.S. market opening, can it move 32 pips? Sure. In fact, let me go and see exactly how much it can move. I have a volatility report that tells me how much it will move on average, and it's been doing below average, so let's go and let's look at the euro dollar, and we're in the fourth quarter. It can move 28 pips, and it can move 37 pips between 8 and 9, and 28 pips between 9 and 10. So we very well could see a 32 pip movement. We can zero in a little bit more and say, okay, in the month of December, we could see a 33 pip movement in from 8 to 9 and a 25 pip move from 9 to 10. Again, we have been under these averages, okay? So we're probably right on the border of making that move. We're trying to get 1 to 2 and doesn't guarantee we will get 1 to 2. On the US CAD, it's probably going to move up, but you've got resistance at 32.96 and at 33.25. And you're testing the pivot line now, and you're not seeing an increase in volume. And that tells me that they're going to have to come back and test on a low again. Do you see how the volume is decreasing? As it's making higher highs, the volume is not increasing. That would be worrisome to me. Now, it is on the 60-minute, but remember, when it hits this dot, it's more than likely going to come back and test this ATR. Now, the ATR does move up, so you're probably going to get a test around this number. That market volatility report is available to anyone that sends me an email and asks for it. In fact, I can actually upload it here. Give me just a second and I'll upload it for everybody. Okay, it's uploading now. So if you go to handouts, I believe it is, you can download it. Let's go back and look at the euro. Erase all drawings. You're welcome, Kareem. We really need this to close under the 0728 line. Let's go see if there's anything else right now. This would be, again, for a 3 p.m. expiration. Not one I want to trade in the room this morning. This is going to be dependent on what we can get it for. We need 1 hour, so that's 10 a.m. We are at 63 right now, which would be the 66 strike price. Let's see if it goes up a little bit more. See how this is 10 pips on this? That's why I don't trade it very much. In this case, I'm only willing to pay 65, which really is only 35 in risk. You see it right here. And I'm going to place an order. It's only one contract. And I'm not quite sure about this one, but we're going to do it. And the reason I'm not sure about this one is because of the 60-minute. I use multiple time frames. Crude. Yeah, I'll look at it real quick. Yeah, you should get some retracement on crude right now. You don't have a lot of room between there to play it, though. You would have to go in at 89, which is here, and it won't go not even 2 strike prices in your favor. It's going to be a hard one to trade. You would have to go in, and this is the thing that you have to weigh out with the binaries, okay? You would have to go in, the closest one is 50.69 for 44.50, and this is going to have to go up to 51.09 to give you your profit target, okay? And that's what's going to make it hard to do. Because it's got to do it within 58 minutes. You've got the volume divergence, you've got the overextended ADX, you also have the stochastics that is indicating oversold. And I'm more prone to do this one just because I like the lower risk ones. But if it does not get to 51.09, I'm going to lose that $22 I paid on entry. And if it does not get to 51.09, I will lose it. That is just about guaranteed. We are starting to form a reversal bar on the British pound, but we have about 12 minutes until that bar ends. And it may come up here and tag this red line and then come down. We're just waiting for it to do it. Let's go back and look at the euro. Now on the British pound, I'm going to go ahead and set a profit target on that at 20 in case I'm distracted and for whatever reason. On crude, you know, I'll go ahead and set a profit target on that. I can't guarantee that we'll get it. But on crude, we only paid $22 for that one. I'm going to set it at 70. And I may modify that. I don't know. It depends on what happens and whether I'm paying attention to it or not. And we're just going to leave the euro because the euro is a spread. I don't have to be as careful with the spread because I've only got $16 of risk on that one. I would like to see this bar close above the 50.69 area on crude. Where is that one? Oh, I agree, Rick. You should get the magenta peak on the 45-minute, and then it'll test the ATR on the 180, and then that will continue down on the 720. But remember, we have a market opening, and they'll do anything at the market opening. Anything. Okay? So just get used to that right now. They will mess up a great trade. It's just what they do. I would really like to see this bar close above the high of this bar, which is 67. Okay, which coincides with my 69 strike over on crude. Remember I said I want it to close above the 50.69? And we're just going to watch these trades. We have 3 on. I think that's enough for us to watch right now. And again, the British pound dollar is not my favorite to trade because the pip spread is wider. I like doing the 4 pips. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It's just my preference. If you're using the stochastics and Nadex, you can see that you just made divergence on that one as well. You know, mine's just a little bit cleaner, and it gives you the little dots to connect the lines. But you can see you were making lower lows and higher lows. Do you notice this is going in one direction, this is going in the opposite direction? That's what you're looking for. If you come back to this one, you know, this one did go lower, but again, you're still going up in the stochastics. This just gives you more bumps. Notice mine doesn't have as many bumps in it. In this one, I really need it to close above this line. But, you know, with only risking $22, I'm not going to try to manage that trade, okay, because I know I have a market opening, and they could push it down and then push it right back up at the market opening. This does not expire until 10 o'clock, okay. On the euro, it is a spread. I've only got $16 of risk on that, so again, I'm not trying to manage that one. But notice how I'm targeting the lower risk binaries. You know, this is what I do. I want a deal, okay? I want to find it on special. That's the way I trade. Can I get a special here? If I can get a special, okay, I'll trade it. And I guess I'd better do this again. For anybody that just came in, this is your risk disclaimer and your hypothetical performance disclosure. You can read that while we're waiting on these to move. The big one is do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. If you cannot afford to lose, do not trade, because you will. It's not saying you're going to lose your whole account or everything. It's just telling you that you will have losses. And sometimes you'll have more losses than wins. Sometimes you'll have more wins than losses. Okay? It goes all kinds of directions. That's what they call a drawdown. You know, you might make $10,000 and then lose $12,000. It's the nature of the beast. A lot of it depends on your discipline as well. Now, what you are watching, we are short. Okay, and we have a profit target in on the British pound. What we are watching is the buy price. The buy price has to get to 20. If it gets to 20 and there is a buyer willing to buy at 20, then our order will be filled. Okay? Now, you can also see that you're making lower highs at the moment and you're making higher highs in the stochastics. This is called hidden divergence. Okay? Currently, it is being confirmed by this reversal bar. This bar has made a high, and it looks like it's going to close under the low of the previous bar being this one, okay? That tells us we would get a new low in. But again, this is on the live edge of the market. You know, it could shoot back up and close at the top. But as it stands right now, this is the pattern that we're looking at. Over on crude, you just have an inside bar. It's not telling you very much other than it's an inside bar. You can also see that because the volume bar over here is gray. So that tells me it's an inside bar. The magenta tells me it's an outside bar. In other words, both the high and the low exceeded the previous bar high and low. The directional volume indicator has both buyers, sellers, the delta, and price action built into it. That's why we have so many colors. Now, I'm going to take a quick break before the market opens. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. I'm going to get me some coffee. Again, watch the buy price on the British pound. If it gets to 20, our orders should be filled. Alright, I'm back and I want to go check the Forex. I don't like the way that bar is forming. And the reason that I don't like it is this is a reversal bar, and that tells me we should make a new low here, and we're not doing that. I don't like it when that happens. I'm trying to give it until the close of the bar to see if we get a new low in there. I know that it should come back and test this ATR. I would really like to see more sellers coming in on that bar. It's hesitating. That's what I don't like. It shouldn't be hesitating right there. I don't really like what that's doing, so I'm going to amend the order simply because I do not like what that price bar is doing. and I'm out. This price bar should not be closing up. It should have made a new low. I'm not seeing strong sellers coming in. So in this case, was I able to get a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio? No. The market didn't want to give it to me, and I'm not going to wait and find out. We don't really have one on this one. The only other one that we really have that we have to manage is the crude, and either crude is going to move in my direction or not. That's about as simple as it gets. If this decides to make a high right now, that would have eaten our profit away. That's why I didn't like it. And the price bar should not have done what it done. So, and this is where, you know, you're not always going to get the 1 to 2. You have to be able to manage your trade. Let's go look at the Dow. We're in a congestion area evidently on the 12-minute. We're at the ATR. A lot of sellers coming in on the bar. I would not be taking that long position on the 45-minute. I mean, you'd have to go out on a daily, and I would not do that. Especially with the 180 telling you it's going to come back to 21.97. That's too narrow of a range to try to trade. And notice over here on the 720, do you see how you have this congestion area? Do you see how it came back to the ATR? It should actually take this out at 21.83. But that, again, that would be a longer term binary. It wouldn't be a 2-hour binary. That would be more of a weekly binary. And there's no way I would enter that long right now. And you're getting them across the board, I think, on the indices. Not one I would be interested in. And this is, on gold, it is not enough movement there to give you a profit. You're better off sitting on your hands. I think crude made a new low. See where it's still testing this congestion dot. That congestion dot is at 22. And the low has been 28. Because we're keeping the loss on the crude at 22, very easy to overcome that one. You just have to wait for the setup to come in. You see how that delta is above zero? That shows the buyers coming in on that bar. I think the NASDAQ is the closest one we have to a potential entry.
I'm right here. You got a phone call.
Now these are out in the middle of nowhere. That's the reason I'm not entering any of them. You're not at an ATR. You're not at an area of support or resistance. These are not ones that you enter. And this is really the hardest part of trading, is waiting for the entry, which is why I use the radar screen to keep me out of trouble. Let's go see if there's anything over on Forex. He did have an entry here. No doubt about it. That made a profit target. If it goes 2 strikes in your favor, you've made a profit target. Now this one is actually 10 pips. Let's go in and see where it's at the moment. It's going to be a close one because of the 45-minute congestion dot. Euro yen. I'm looking at the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. expiration. And this one, the only one you could probably do would be this one. It's going to have about $40 of risk. I wouldn't do more than that on it. And this is where you can just go in and type in a number. And either they hit it or they don't. In this case, they did. But if this was to close above the 33, I would exit. Okay. Now, the reason that I said this is going to be a hard one because this is 10 pips each. Okay. Well, right at 122.03, you have a congestion dot. So this one could go back up and test this one. So that's why I'm saying this is a little bit iffy. Does everybody understand that one? And again, I just always go in and immediately set a profit target. In this case, I'm going to set it to 15 in case I get distracted by something else I'm looking at. This one is a slow mover. I don't like to trade it during the U.S. session. Let's go back and look at the USD/JPY. This one, you've got that congestion dot right up above you. You also have an ATR right up above you. It's already tested the pivot line on the 15-minute chart. My bet would be it's going to go up, not down. Stu, and I'm sorry, I just saw your question. When you say that, what time frame for the support and resistance are you looking at? Refresh my memory on what we were talking about, Stuart. What market was it? I was looking at the market, not the questions. So, okay. Well, when I'm looking at it, you know, if you're looking at the 15-minute, okay, look up one time frame. In this case, it's a 60-minute. You know, you've got resistance here at 114.07, okay? You also have resistance at 114.19, and you also have resistance at 114.54. Will it, you know, reach up to this number, or will it settle there? You don't really know. It's really not telling you right now. You know, are buyers getting weaker, or are they getting stronger? In this case, they're actually getting weaker because this is the highest volume bar compared to this one over here. We're reading it intra-bar. This one actually has another 8 minutes until it finishes. You know, you can clearly see on the 15-minute that the pivot line, initially they broke it, but then it offered support, okay? My guess is they're probably going to come up to 114.20 because I'm seeing, okay, there's a previous historical value there because the zones is plotted there. We also have a congestion dot being plotted there. And when you're looking at this volume, you know, buyers took control here. So reading this higher time frame, it's probably going to come up to 114.20. Does everybody else see my screen? Okay, I had one person that's not seeing it. The only way that I would enter the Dow is if price comes back to test this ATR. Then I would enter a short position. But until then, I'm not touching this. You know, the NASDAQ, probably the same scenario. No, we're at the ATR. So, see how fast I can do this. I actually want out until probably noon on this one. I'm sorry, this really slows my computer down to have these in here. So right now, price is currently trading up here. In this case, I'm probably going to come down to the 47.83 area. And again, I'm just going to put in an immediate profit target in case I'm doing something else and I'm not paying attention here. You can clearly see that sellers are coming in on that bar. You know, this one, I'm still waiting. If it closes above 33, I'm going to scratch that trade. I'm not going to risk the entire $40 on that trade. Now, I did this one for 12 o'clock. Could you come in and do, you know, one for 11 o'clock? I think you're going to be pushing it. But could you? Yeah, you could do in a lot of things in these things. Okay. See, over here you could get 40.80 if I can get in it quick enough. Flip. Okay, I'm going to delete that one. And I'm going to have to come in at 47.76 because I am not risking that much on this trade. And go ahead and set a profit target on it. You know, could this move down 4 points in the next 45 minutes? Sure. And I'm going to have to enlarge my screen a little bit. And again, this, the GoToWebinar does slow down my machine. So it slows down Nadex because I've got a lot of radar screens and all going here. So now the other thing that you want to be careful on, and I'm just going to pull it down, you have potential support at 47.58. So, you know, I'm very aware, hey, I want to be in the market before it gets to 47.58. But I mean, that's basically down here at the pivot line. And let's see, on these, you can see I've got working orders at 15. I'm actually short, so I'm buying back at 15. And that simply tells you that you are watching the buy price. This buy price has to get to 15. Okay, over here, this buy price has to get to 15. And I'm expecting it to at least come back and take out that low at 47.68. That's my expectations. And this one has about a minute left in it. And I really do want it to close below 33. Yeah, really out of all of these, the NASDAQ's had the best setup. The one thing I liked about the NASDAQ that we didn't have on the others is they both had that 47.93. It was within one tick on both the 45 and the 12. In other words, they're doing what we thought they should be doing versus the others are just kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of obstacles in the way on the others. I hate that little thing. On the euro yen, we've got 3 bars until the expiration. On the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we have 3 bars until expiration. This has the longest amount of time. So this one, it will take longer to get to our profit target than it will on this one or this one. Simply because this has more time available than this one or this one. I'm going to go look at the euro yen real quick because I don't like that price bar. Now both the volume and the price bar, the previous price bar on the Euro Yen 15-minute is saying it should go down. I know it should test 121.99. I just don't like the way that bar is building, but it's intra-bar, so I'm going to be patient with it. It might help if I had my microphone on, Kareem. I do use the volatility charts a lot. On the NASDAQ, can this still come below 47.76 within the next 20 minutes? Yeah, it can. This one is fine. This one has an hour and 20 minutes versus this one with just 20 minutes. I'm just about at the point of taking a nap, Rick. On the euro, I'll go look at it. I'll look at it on the Forex. It's about the same. Yeah, we should go back up here and test that ATR. But then on the daily, we're actually overbought. So it's going to come down first and then probably go up. That would be my guess on that. Because you see how the daily is getting into an overbought state. And this is where this should come back and test this ATR. I'm not really seeing the euro go up very much. Yeah, I just can't foresee the euro going up very much with the conditions as they are right now. The euro is really struggling. Yeah, that's what I think too. It's just going to get time decay on it. And there's a way to trade those with the binary options, but the risk on them is high. So I tend not to do that very often. If I'm really desperate for a trade and the market's not moving, I'll do some, but it's not my cup of tea, really. Go back and look at the euro. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. And I don't typically do these. I'm just showing you because I want you to realize the risk to reward ratios. Can't stand it when it does that. So for example, if you believe that this will stay below 0.775 for the rest of the week, you can sell that. But this is what you're paying for it, $65 to make a total of $35.50. Okay? So this one, the risk to reward is skewed against you. Would I do that? Because I think they actually have a rate announcement this week. Let me check and see. It seems like there's a rate announcement on it. Normally when I do these, it's really slow, and just beyond any shadow of a doubt, know that price will stay below that level. Okay? That's the only time I would do ones like that. And I always like to warn people ahead of time. Yeah, they have a minimum bid rate Thursday. Okay, so if you're doing that, you're doing it into a rate announcement, which is probably not a good thing. Just to let you know. Okay, but as long as it stays below 0.775, you would collect premium on that. Okay. Again, these are not ones that I typically do. During lunchtime, you can do some of those. And during lunchtime, because the market doesn't move, that's the only reason that I would do it, and you can just collect the premium on them. But that's about the only time I would do those. Do y'all understand that? And a lot of times you can't find it to do it. You might be making $5. Not something I would do. And see how this is stuck between this congestion dot and this ATR? Notice that the one that I bought time on is doing okay. The one that I pushed is not doing okay. And this is why I tell you this is a minimum time period. Because if the market's moving fast, you want to go in the 1 hour expiration. But if price is moving like it is right now, you're better off on the 2 hour expiration. Yesterday, I don't think I took any trades actually. I think I did one on the DAX and that was about it. And that's because it was moving sideways. And we've had a lot of this where it moves right at the open and then it just dies. And it's like, what the hell? Okay, this one expired, so this one lost money. This one is still doing okay. As long as it stays below 47.83, that will make money. So I would not touch this one. That one's the weekly that I did, so I'm not worried about that one. And that's it for today, because I'm going to go take a nap. Any questions, guys? Now, I will post the recording up for those that want to see it later. But any questions? Oh, thank you. All right, everyone have a wonderful day, and I'll see you. I am having a presentation tomorrow in the Nadex room. It's on Forex and binary options, the difference between the two. So, all right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a wonderful day.